The landscape of money has changed. This is not your grandma's money anymore. It's not even your parents' money. Millennials have redefined everything about money. Who makes it, how, when, where, and why it's made. There's just one problem they haven't quite solved yet. How to make the money they make even more money for them. Welcome to Barita Money IQ, Millennial Edition. Millennials. They keep trying to define and refine us. Running from ages 25 to 40, we're a group that has been the before and afters for so many trends and changes. With the oldest member of this group turning 40 this year, you might expect the majority of them to be homeowners, married, saving in the bank, all the things we've seen the generations before us do. But you would be wrong. According to a recent Bloomberg article, at every pivotal wealth-building moment in their lives, the elder millennials in particular have been hit by major crises. In their starter phases, the Great Recession wiped out savings, job positions, and opportunities, leaving millennials in the cold. By the time they began staggering up the corporate ladder, the pandemic struck, derailing startups, small businesses, and positions at every level of the workforce. This was just one way that millennials have been positioned, well, to struggle. Millennials are actually broker at their age than the generations before. And that comes down to a number of things. Interests.
A lot of people have found their passion for the arts, so they've left their 9-to-5s.
Tried corporates, didn't work out. Corporate and me, we don't really like each other.
Our parents stayed in jobs for 30, 40 years. One job. Millennials is like 2 years uncut.
Inflation.
If the prices start to go up, which is essentially what inflation is, right? Because prices go up, your cash can buy less things.
It's a lot harder to buy a house now than it was back then.
So the house prices are up there and we're not earning enough to keep up and to be able to meet the objectives that our parents did.
And information.
I think if investment firms made a course like investment for dummies, that would be perfect. That's what I need.
So when I just started, I thought that, okay, I could give this a shot, but then I realized there's so much more to investing.
For the most part, I don't know anything other than the general knowledge.
We are finding now that they are reading more and they are pushing for more answers.
I realized that we need to relearn how to think about money.
If you're feeling panic over where you are on your own wealth journey versus where you should be, you're not alone. But you're not hopeless either. The post-COVID economy looks promising. Now's the time, maybe the last time, to build real wealth for retirement and beyond. To help you get there, we've figured out the top 3 factors that have the biggest impact on millennial money and how to make the most out of investment opportunities now. The first one is knowledge.
When I want to learn about, how to do a new nail trend, I can go on YouTube and then it will come up with a video and it'll be like, okay, if you want to do long nails that spin, short nails that spin, it's there. So for investing, I feel like I wouldn't know where to start. It's good, the basics, but it's like, okay, where do I even start in educating myself?
Well, for my industry, persons in the creative industry, how they view investing is, it is a goal of theirs, but I'm not sure that they take it as a goal that can be started right now. So whereas, especially for me, I thought I would have to build up some form of income, some form of money to start investing, because it seemed like a rich people thing. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's our education of the investment platform or the investment options that are out there. Is it they trade the money? Do they trade the stocks? Do they trade, or where do they trade it? But I think some formal education, would be good, so that I can have an in-depth knowledge to share with my children.
when I started investing, I started looking for information on the companies that I could possibly invest in. And I realized, but there's not much information. And the information that's there, I don't understand because I don't have an economics degree. I don't have a finance degree. I don't have a business degree. And if I'm having this problem as a new investor, chances are other people like me are having the very same problem.
Okay, so let's start there with a quick rundown on investing.
The stock market is a dynamic place for one to make money. The fact is that it is companies that are operating businesses. And whilst you invest, you become a shareholder in these companies. Then if the companies make money, you will make money. And there are so many ways in which the company will distribute that money to you, or you can see that you have made the money. If the company does well, the prices will go up, and you will see it based on what you bought it for in the first place, where it is now. You have made money, although you have not yet converted. And if the company does well, you will get dividend, a part of the distribution of profit, and so you make money again from that. So there are several ways in which an investor can make money in investing in the market.
You've heard all about stocks, the units of a company you can buy or sell in the stock market. But there are other ways to make your money work for you, like fixed income investments, where your investment basically becomes a loan to companies that then give you a steady interest payment for the life of the loan. And of course, there's a fund, your investment firm's top investment picks from both stock and fixed income options, curated into a single opportunity. Sounds complicated? Don't worry, it's not that bad. And you don't have to figure this out alone.
Well, my approach to anything in life is to gather as much information about it before you proceed and make any decisions. I spent many years studying medicine, and it really takes a lot to do that. And your future is a very important thing. So I'd rather have somebody who would spend that much time knowing money to partner with to give me the best future possible financially.
For like first-time investors or new investors, investing can be kind of scary, right? So you kind of want a partner to guide you through it. In achieving that, getting that guidance, you can take advantage of research that's available, right? And I mean, at Barita Investments, for example, we provide a weekly newsletter. We share research information with our clients, right? There's, a nifty segment called the investment playbook, right? It really walks you through how we're seeing the market, how the professionals are seeing the markets, and how they see specific options in terms of stocks that you could think about. And you say, okay, this opportunity looks interesting. You can bring that to your advisor straight out of the playbook and act on it, right? And add it to the portfolio. So,
with or without an advisor, there's no denying that there's a lot of international information out there. But what about Jamaica and our local market?
So there is a lot of information out there for the US, for the European markets, because those are developed markets. We have a developing market. And up until 2016 or so, interest in the stock exchange was, lukewarm. You have your people, your wealthy class. But when we started getting that boom and JSC was the #1 performing stock exchange in the world, now all of a sudden, many other people start paying attention. That's when I started paying attention, And all these new people are coming to the market, but they have no idea what they're doing, have no idea where to look for information. They're hearing the reports, but it's the jargon and they don't understand it. So as our markets develop, our communication has to develop as well.
There is more focus now as to market education. And the collaboration in terms of financial literacy with the regulators, etc., that has also driven the understanding of the market. I think also we cannot escape the fact that the millennials tend to be much more inquisitive than the baby boomers. You have done it, they are saying. So what about me? I might be able to do it better. Also, technology. Don't discount technology. we have found that in terms of our online trading platform, again, the millennials rule. And I'm just sorry that at the point in which I was 25, I didn't have the sort of knowledge that 25-year-olds to 40 now have.
There's a group on Twitter, especially Finance Twitter, JA. It's very good. A lot of education in there as well. Whereas our parents, I'm not sure that these options, so many options were available to them. But I think now that we have the opportunity to actually see the stocks and to get into companies that we like and that are growing, it's a good move. I like the education that the millennials are getting right now about finances, and it's about time.
Knowledge is always good, but unfortunately, it's not always the only indicator of how well money will do. The financial environment is a factor that can be bigger than all the information in the world. And in Jamaica, millennials have lived through so many changes.
The millennial generation, it's an interesting experience, right? So you had Jamaica Telephone Company, see that morph into Kimla Wireless, and then comes Digicel. So, the introduction of cell phones, there would have been pre-internet, post-internet. There would have been burning CDs to MP3s. And the list goes on. And then if you think international is even more change, right? Before 2007, there wasn't such a thing as an iPhone, right? Think about that. Before 2004, there was no Facebook, right? But another unique thing about that generation is you would have also seen the end of the world, right? A number of times, global financial crisis, this is Great Depression all over again. We're all going to go hungry, there's going to be bread lines. So that's 2008. By 2011, 2012, Greece basically goes bankrupt. So you see, a European nation hit the wall, essentially. And then you come now to 2020, and you have a global pandemic. So now we're all going to die, right? These crises are supposed to be rare. You hear people talk about the 100-year flood, but in truth and in fact, this is just the last 10 years.
I think times have changed a lot. The economic environment has changed a whole lot. I was reading an article recently about how house prices have escalated at a rapid pace over the past 10, 20 years, but salaries have not escalated at the same pace. And so our attitudes to money, though, and this is the point that I just really can't stress enough, that our attitudes to money need to shift with the environment and with the economy. We cannot survive in today's world on the strategies that our parents used. What worked for our parents 30 years ago is not working for us in today's world. That work hard, saving money, buy a house is not today's reality. And I feel like our parents' generation was so far ahead of where we are at the same age. Many of them were homeowners in their 20s.
And the data backs that up. Income has not kept pace with real estate, keeping home ownership out of reach for many, if not most. But there's good news in all of this. Economic recessions have always presented opportunities for investment. And for all the struggle, millennials have invested.
Over 50% of the total number of persons that we have are millennials operating in the market. And what they have done, you can see that they're more in the number of transactions in the market, in the volume of transactions in the market, and they are 40% in terms of the value. So they are still a little below, but in terms of overall, they are the biggest player in the market. The number of accounts that we have opened in the past 5 years mainly are concentrated on the millennials as well. In 2019, we opened 20,000 accounts for the millennials. And even though 2020 was a year where you consider the market was depressed, we opened over 14,000 for millennials.
Well, honestly, I think it was just a trending thing. Right? It's vibes. You go with the vibes. This is somebody investing and I get their dividend check. But I think once we started investing, and we realize that this thing is real and it is a way to create generational wealth, a lot of people took it more seriously and say, hey, this is something, this is a tool that I can use. I can buy my house. It's a lot harder to buy a house now than it was back then. I can use this as a tool to buy my house or build a house. I can use this tool to retire. I can use this to plan a vacation or my children's education. You know, or access to funds now might be more now than it was back then. But I think we want our goal, or a lot of millennials' goals, or one of them is to become financially independent.
That financial independence is every millennial's dream. But it's not just the financial landscape that has affected millennial money. It's also time.
Financial freedom means, to me, be able to make enough money to have the time to do what you really want. How do you become a business owner as opposed to a slave in your own business, aka being an entrepreneur? You know, having to make only the amount of hours that you're sitting down working. You find entrepreneurs wanting to build their own, you know, as opposed to, you know, they call it working for somebody else and making money for them. You know, they see it as like keeping it for themselves. Like, if you're going to put in all that work, why not let it be building your own thing, you know? So as a creative, it came naturally to do those things, painting nails, like learning my craft. But the real lessons for me was the side that I wasn't necessarily good at, the business side. So for example, monitoring the product side, when the colors are made, knowing which colors sell more, which ones to produce more, which ones to produce less, that kind of thing, which is something that you can hire someone to do or you learn to do yourself, which is a whole other aspect of time, right?
As a doctor, what drew me to investing was really understanding what my business is, okay? And as a doctor, you exchange your time for money, which is not a very efficient way of creating wealth. You'll just never have enough time to do it. I'd rather spend my time learning more about my own craft and better treating my own patients. So that's what really fueled my interest in learning investing and generating income without spending my time doing it.
Despite that tired idea of millennials being entitled and lazy, they are the hustle generation, with up to 64% having a side gig to go with their 9 to 5. These funds go into supporting their lifestyles, from basic to bills to spending money. Fortunately for many Jamaican millennials, they're also investing more than their parents ever did, which is good. Investing benefits the young.
Time in the market is more important than timing the market, right? Because I don't think anybody can time the market. Well, I mean, I certainly can't, right? But what that does is, so let's say you decide you're going to invest monthly. So you buy at the high in January, right? You buy higher in February, right? The market crashes in March. Now, this is a crucial point, because what a lot of people will tend to do is they'll pull back at that time. That's right? And that's what you don't want to do. You want to keep buying. So it's down in March, you buy it. It's down further in April, you buy it, right? If you bought at 100 and you buy again at 70 and you buy again at 50, right? By the time it gets back to 100, whenever that is, you're actually ahead of the game. Just that lesson alone, for most individual investors, that you're busy being a graphics artist, you're busy being a doctor, you're busy being an accountant. This is not what you do, right? You don't have time to get into the granularity of different investments, right? For most of them, if they do that, they'll be better off, right? So, time in the market, not trying to time the market.
For investing in the stock market, you're talking about so many areas that you can diversify in. You don't have to be in only manufacturing or finance or distribution, but you can diversify. And even within the COVID period, we had young investors understanding how they pivot from one investment into another, but also still within the market. Really, at the end of the day, you are investing in companies. Companies are there to make money. Companies are just businesses. And when you do not have the time, and the millennials sometimes don't have the time, they are everywhere, to do it themselves, invest in these companies that have professional managers to do it for them, spend a little time to know the companies, etc., but just do it.
You can't win if you don't begin. Yet so many of us can't quite get going. Getting started doesn't have to be a big deal. So why are we struggling?
I think it is the mindset. I know that a lot of people think that it is for the affluent. A lot of people think that you need X amount of money before you can start investing. So I don't think we know that you can start for as little as 10,000, and some probably even less than that. Definitely, I do wish I started my investment journey earlier, especially nowadays, seeing people talking about they get their dividend checks, and I'm sitting here like, yo, where's mine? And I know that the returns would have been greater if I started much earlier, but better to start late than never at all.
There's a big misconception that you need a large amount of money to start investing, and that's not the case. So whatever you have, as long as you can build on it, as long as you do it on a regular basis, knowing that you're paying your future self with the possibility of wealth.
A lot of people don't start because they feel like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know anything. This is just so alien to me. They're speaking womp, 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 Charlie Brown parents' language about Charlie Brown, and nobody could understand it. But figure it out along the way. So don't be afraid to get your feet wet. My very first investment, I had no idea what I was doing. And after that, I'm like, okay, so we actually need to do some research and figure it out. And we have figured it out. I've figured it out along the way. I didn't start out as an expert. And now, just 2 years into doing this, I've been investing for like 3-4 years. And just 2 years into doing video content about it, people are saying I'm an expert. And it's, if I can do it, you can.
And getting started is especially important now. Policymakers like the US Federal Reserve have already declared their intention to keep interest rates low. Now this matters because keeping interest rates this low encourages people to spend, which boosts economic growth. However, we know that inflation is already spiking.
If the person responsible for the cash, the dollars, is saying we're trying to bring that cash value a little down, which is essentially what inflation is, right? Because prices go up, your cash can buy less things. Then as an investor, you don't want to stay stuck in cash, right? You want to be holding assets. You basically, you have two options. You can hold cash, or you can hold a cross-section of the top companies in the economy. Now the question is, can that cash pay for enough food that you need, right? Or instead of holding the cash, you could put the cash into the company that produces the food. When you come to me and I look at what prices, so the price of corn and the price of, what people use for chicken, price of grass, I don't know, price of corn, the price for paying farmers, whatever the case may be, right? If all of that is going up and to turn a profit, I need to increase the prices of my chicken, right? Then I'm gonna do that. But you're holding the same cash you had before, you can buy less. Now, if you had invested in me, you would benefit from my pricing power on the chicken. And as a shareholder, you would stay ahead of the game. So that's how you want to think about your exposure in the market.
So 3 keys to wealth creation: investment, entrepreneurship, real estate. It all boils down to ownership of assets. So own stuff. That's what it comes down to. Own stuff that's gonna make you money in the long term. So for me, owning my business, owning my content, because I've been working for many years, producing content for other people, I now own my own content. Owning stocks, owning real estate. Ownership is what it boils down to, just one word.
Listen, are millennials behind the generations that came before us? Yes, but we're also equipped to close that gap pretty quickly. All we need is a little more focus and a few more millennial investors to make the leap.
Don't wait. Don't wait, start now. In 13 years, your investment portfolio would be huge. You know, you wouldn't have missed out on a lot of, you know, the booming stocks. But yeah, just don't wait, just do it. Just do it. You don't need a big lump sum. You don't need to be rich. You can start small and build.
Put in the research on finding a good investment institution from early. And then just making that top priority. When you reach, you know, my age, you'd be at a better position. Who wouldn't want that?
You know, it's one thing to have an idea in the head, but it's a second thing to actually go out and do it. So you need to get out there, do it, take that step of faith and get it done. And know that it's not a get rich quick scheme, it's a get rich scheme. So it will happen, it just may not happen overnight.
Invest now. Start right now. I have seen younger persons who have come to me and said, you know, I invested just 2 or 3 years ago and I've been able to buy my house. I've been able to buy my car. So these are some milestones that you want to see achieve and achieve quickly. We now have a vibrant market. It is sustainable because these persons, 25 to 40, they are going to be educating the other generations in terms of investing in the market. So we have a bright future.
I went to a pharmacy, security guard spraying my hands, and he's like, hold on there, let's get this money. I say, yeah. I'm like, you know my shows, you watch my shows? I say, yeah man, I watch all of your shows. I just watched the one about First Rock. And then he was telling me all about the Fesco IPO and how he bought, and it's a security guard, you know, many of them make minimum wage. And so if a security guard can do it, you can do it. So I asked him, what was your first investment? He said, Trans-Jamaica Highway. How much did you invest? $1,000 he opened his account with. $1,000. And now he's a shareholder in multiple companies. And so if you think that you can't do it, just reflect on people who you might not even suspect they are doing this and making money and being consistent. You kind of have to think about wealth in a different way if you want to make things work in today's world.
It's never too late to get started, but it's never too early either. Baby millennial, elder millennial, the best time to invest is now.
Definitely started as a training, but oh yeah, investing in it, you know, the new fish fry. Oh yeah, man, I have stocks in this and that, and stocks in. Yeah, no, I like that. But no, when they realize when the check's hitting, you know, them said, oh, this is money. I like that. You hear that? Just build. Just build.
What are the different types of investing? You know, I know it's not just stocks, right? Is it? Okay.
You have to do it again, it's not just stocks.
Because I was like, wait, is it just stocks?
You're good.
Okay. All right, cool.
If I invest in the teeth of that, I'm either going to make a lot of money or I'm going to die of coronavirus. Right? That's kind of how I think it through. I mean, so here's the thing. So if I so let's say I invest and I'm wrong, right? Let's say I invest and I'm wrong, and I die of coronavirus. You think Raul is gonna be there in that grave saying, man, shouldn't have bought S&P.
Money IQ. If you don't know me, then I don't know you. Why you? Money IQ. What's about me? What's about you? Money IQ.